Hello, my name is Tyler, and it feels really, really good to be back. I really miss doing these videos, and I took like 4 months off because I've been super busy with a bunch of stuff, which I'll explain over the course of this video, but I really wanted to just sit down and make this video today about what I've been really focusing on and been really passionate about. If you guys have seen my videos before, you know I probably talk way too much about being a teacher. It's really, outside of books, the second thing I talk about most. And some personal information, I'm 23. I recently graduated with a degree in English and a master's in education. And during that 1 year program, I was a full year master's student where I was getting my master's in education. It was a 2 year condensed program, smushed heavily into 1 year. And at the same time as that, I was a full time teacher, getting my license, kind of with a mentor teacher, teaching as much as I could, getting as much experience. And then after I graduated from my master's and finished up that 1 year program at that school, I then went and got a job in Los Angeles, California, teaching high school English, specifically 10th and 11th grade. And now here I am. I'm 23. I'm a full-time English teacher, and I have a lot of issues with the way education and English and everything is run today, and how it's really difficult to be an English teacher or just a teacher as whole. It's really, really tough. And I've been putting my blood, sweat, and tears into this job, and there's a lot of stuff that we probably should talk about that I want to kind of just break down today in this video. I just want to start off by clarifying a few things. I've been incredibly fortunate with the 2 teaching jobs I've had so far. My first year with my mentor teacher was an incredible program. He's a great teacher, and that school really assisted me in learning how to do this kind of stuff. And my job now, where I'm currently teaching, has one of the best programs I've seen and the most welcoming and accepting of mistakes for new teachers. So I can't be fortunate enough that I found these jobs. The job that I have now, I lived in Massachusetts, hence the Boston Bruins shirt, and I was like searching up jobs in California, teaching jobs, and that one popped up, and I applied, and I got the job, and I love it so far. This video today is not going to be about like the cliches that you would probably expect about why it kind of sucks sometimes to be an English teacher or a teacher or any of the struggles as a whole. Yes, let's get out of the way first. The pay sucks. Would I love to be paid more? Absolutely. But I'm also 23, living with roommates. I have no family to take care of. I have no one but myself to really feed and pay rent, and I can survive. I have been. California is not a very cheap place to live, and I'm doing okay. So just get that out of the way. Yeah, of course. The pay would be lovely. I would love to be paid more. I would love to buy more books. That would be awesome. Who wouldn't love to be paid more? The second, yeah, social media is kind of ruining students' attention spans and really taking kids away out of like their ability to engross other students or pay attention for long periods of times. Yeah, I get it. Social media is making kids more disrespectful, which isn't the case, by the way. That's a really common argument I hear. If you treat students with respect and you treat them like adults, they'll treat you like with respect too. It's not that hard, but I get it. A lot of people have issue with disrespectful students, disrespectful kids. I get it, but you have to learn how to connect with them, I feel like, and that's really a benefit for my age. There's some people who really, really try. There's an incredible series of teachers out there, but I also feel like we can all agree that there have been really, really shitty teachers in our life, myself included. I'll probably talk about that in the future. Yeah, kids, of course, they're kids. That's the thing we have to have the big takeaway from is they're kids. The pay sucks. The kids can be difficult. I love my kids. I love them more than anything. They're great. I love talking with them. I love watching them develop over the course of the year. I get it. Those are kind of like the 2 big cliches I heard always about it. Like, yeah, the hours suck. I mean, it's cool to have summers off. Don't get me wrong, but I'm working a lot during the summers. Yeah, weekends are off. I work 5 days a week, but I'm working like 50 plus hours a week, I guess, which is still not as much as other people, but coming from like college and then grad school and a mentor teacher job and now a full-time job, yeah, of course the hours suck. I guess a timely criticism right now is the treatment of teachers and students during COVID sucks across the board. Teachers are in class, like I have 140 students. My biggest classroom is the size of like 33 kids, and at times the kids will take off masks, take a drink, and I'm like, I'm totally gonna get COVID, and it really sucks and it's really scary. I get it. Those are all kind of like the cliche criticisms of being a teacher and the things that I struggle with that I think all teachers across the board struggle with. And that isn't really what I want to touch on this video. That stuff all has its pros and cons. Like, yeah, the pays could be better, but I'm in one of the highest paying areas for teachers, but I'm also in one of the most expensive areas. It's a conundrum. But then again, I didn't really want to talk about those cliches today. I wanted to focus on the bigger issues that I see and that I myself have gone through because I'm only 23. I teach kids who are 15 to 17 years old. They are not much younger than I am, and I am still technically in that generation that they are, even though I'm in that weird gray area between like Gen Z and what is it called? Who are they? The millennials. That's what they're called. I'm in that weird techno gray area where I grew up more with millennial ideas, but with Gen Z kind of technology. It's a weird like mixture middle ground. It is what it is. But some of the stuff that I saw when I was coming up as a student in my high school and some of the things that nearly pushed me away from reading and from people and from everything as a whole and from teaching really is some of the stuff that is still prevalent today. And I think it all really boils down to the fact that our society, the way we have structured American education, and I do want to preface, this is American education. I have seen some really great stuff about like European education, and this is just purely criticism of American education. I would love to see I would love like a firsthand experience of how European education is run, because that just seems really engaging. But the biggest thing about American education in the system as a whole is that with English, we don't really place a high level of importance on English anymore for a wide-ranging kind of realm of reasons that stem from larger like economic collapse to like this small interpersonal dynamic with social media. The first thing I want to address is kind of the bigger stuff. The idea that we are so in touch with social media that larger issues affecting our country and our world, let's say like for America, like a potential democratic collapse, which I'm not trying to get too much into politics, but those who are well informed or probably not even have an idea that it's really scary to be young and watch our democratic policies kind of like slowly dissipate. And then like this like ever looming climate crisis. And it's really hard to be a young person, and I'm going to try to talk for what my students have told me in the past, to be this young person with all these larger mounting issues in the world, because they're children. I mean, it's really hard to overlook that sometimes when you get like a 17-year-old, they're still technically a child. I mean, at least in America, they're considered still a child, a minor. And it's really hard to throw this constant exposure of stuff onto them, these larger issues, and still give them time to be like, hey, go read this book about like The Great Gatsby. It's really hard to express the importance of books like this when they constantly are being exposed to stuff that is going to change their life in the future. It is what it is. We have a massive economic disparity in this country. I deal with a lot of students who are poor, a lot of POCs, a lot of students who have tell me they can't buy the books because they don't have enough money. And it's really hard to convey to them the importance of reading and to read every single day and to constantly practice and to constantly engage when these just larger than life issues are constantly barreling down on them faster and faster and faster. Now, I'm not saying this is an issue that is affecting all students, but I am saying this is an issue that I think affects the larger institution as a whole. We're also seeing a shift away from English to kind of like STEM-focused areas, which is perfectly fine because we have these issues that require people to fix them. So you're placing these larger issues in a higher focus on STEM, and we're placing this higher importance on STEM education because that is needed now. It feels like we're in a world that needs less and less development with English writing and English reading and English writing and reading comprehension. We're just placing a lesser importance on it, whether we realize it or not. I was talking with a bunch of people about this subject. I was talking with Matt and Mark, Toronto and Matt's Bookshelves, and I was talking about my girlfriend Olive about this today, and she mentioned something called like an empathy overexposure, which is something that I hadn't really thought about. My argument for this was slightly different, but she really helped me open my eyes there, where we can criticize the importance of social media and we can criticize its slowly looming impact over the attention spans of students, over its ability to constantly provide an outlet for students who don't want to read. I mean, I could look up the Spark Notes for every major book probably on my shelf and then not read the book. And it's really hard as a teacher to try to teach to students who have a various level of reading and writing comprehension, these smaller, minute stuff, because I want everyone to get to this base level, but that base level is usually eclipsed by SparkNotes, so that is kind of the issue there. But going back to the empathy overexposure, a big reason why I read is that as like a straight, white, middle-class male, it's why I read. I read to build empathy. I read because I want to help understand people, to try to not be as ignorant as possible. Because when I'm born with this sheer amount of privilege and I'm dealing with students who are gay, trans, black, Hispanic, Asian, anything, it's really, really hard to try to accommodate everyone if I am not aware of what socially and economically they're going through, because a big part of teaching is I have to remain consistently consistent. That might sound a little stupid, but I have to be the same amount of person every single day because these students' lives are inconsistent themselves. But reading, I read to build an empathy. I read women's literature. I read from authors of color. I read LGBTQ books as much as I can because I want to be as accommodating as a person as possible. I've been trying as hard as I can, and there is a limit, of course, but it's really hard when I'm trying to convey that as an importance for English. That is why I teach. I want to interact with people. I want to learn as much as humanly possible about everyone. I want to know their experiences. But it's really hard to convey that message when we have this empathy overexposure, like Olive said, where social media is almost doing that for us, but to a wide overloading degree. If I want to know what an experience is like for someone who identifies as LGBTQ, I could read a book that deals with that perspective, say something like Call Me By Your Name or Enigma Variations by Andre Aciman. I could read those books and get a better understanding. Or I could watch YouTube videos from anyone who's LGBTQ. I could look at Twitter. I could read articles. There is so much happening at once and so much exposure that really it dwindles the importance of reading. And a really underrated skill of reading is the ability to develop that comprehension. And books really challenge that because YouTube videos are that visual engagement. Twitter is short. Articles are often short. Short stories to an even extent, or shorter articles or op-eds are often shorter. Books really push your exhaustion in terms of your ability to comprehend material. You guys, I don't need to explain the importance of books to everyone here. I think that's kind of like really stupid because you guys clearly know the importance of books. But for my kids, my students, it's really hard to try to clarify this and to explain this when they are just kind of taking all that anyways. It is really hard when the foundations of our society so like vehemently work against my very like career. And I'm trying to do the best that I can, and I still am I personally think I'm a bad teacher. I think that has to do with a lot with like self-doubt and self-worth and imposter syndrome. I don't know how I'm here. But all I know is I want to keep doing this. I want to help the best that I can. And I want to get kids interested in reading. And I don't know what to do. I'm really like struggling here. And I've been gone for 4 months because I've been throwing everything into teaching. I've read a little bit, of course. And I don't think I'm ever going to talk about what I read during this time. Not out of like a secretive notion, but the books I read during these really hard last 4 months are with me because they're important to me. And I'm just going to probably keep those to myself. But I really am worried about how the education system is kind of in this downward swing. We're seeing this mass resignation of teachers right now. And that is only going to exponentially grow. Because honestly, if you're a teacher or if you're interested in teaching, and if you look at the current state of education and the way our society treats teachers as kind of just like, to put it bluntly, like shit, why wouldn't you want to get out of this profession? I completely understand. I'm not saying I haven't had my self-doubts. Of course I have. And I've only been doing this for like a year and a half. I get it. I understand why. And that's why it's really hard to sit here and be like, I don't know what to do. I can only really control what happens in my classroom. and try to do the best that I can. I want to convey the importance of books, and then honestly, talking to all of you here and the great things you guys have to say about reading and literature and your experiences have helped me more than I think you guys realize. I haven't responded to any comments during this first 4 months that I've been away, but I've been like reading every single one of them, and some of you guys have just the kindest and nicest things to say about how you got into books or how you read like Stoner because of my recommendation, and that just means the world to me, and I don't think I can convey that enough. I really want to succeed as a teacher. I really, really want my kids to get the best English education they can. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm powerless to larger society, sociocultural impacts of social media, of the movement away from English to STEM. I'm powerless, and it worries me, and it kind of scares me a lot, especially since I'm young, I'm a new teacher, and I'm just seeing this downward spiral. Now, I also know that I'm hitting education in a really weird year because nobody learned anything during COVID, at least during education. Remote learning sucks. I did an entire grad program remote, and it sucked more than anything. So I'm kind of considering these next like 2 or 3 years kind of a wash, at least with reading and writing comprehension, because we have that just like year and a half cutoff of like what the hell happened because COVID hit. I mean, I don't have to explain COVID to you guys. We've all been living in it for like 3 calendar years now. Holy crap, we've been doing this since 2019. But yeah, I just think that English in teaching is a profession that is getting hit hard right now. And I don't really know the purpose of this video. I got to be honest. I've just been really struggling and just wanted an outlet to talk about this kind of stuff and the stuff that I've seen. And I love my kids. And whenever they come to me and they're like, I really enjoyed The Great Gatsby because of what we did with it, that just makes my world, and that just makes it all worth it. And who knows, maybe if you guys have any advice on what I can do or what I can help with, or if any of you guys are teachers or have any experiences with English or teaching or anything or any observations about the world, I'd love to hear them. Any advice or recommendations or kind of stuff would be really beneficial. I read all of my comments. So yeah, it's kind of a really disconnected, disjointed video. I kind of just want to get these larger ideas out there. I didn't really have a structure or anything, but it feels really good to be back. And thank you guys for sticking through this really nonsensical ramble where I probably just sound like I'm out of my mind for like 20 minutes. So thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, go check out my friends Matt and Mark. Matt has been making a ton of videos while I've been away, and Mark actually made one video recently, which is really awesome. We've been talking a lot about that and stuff we can do together in the future, at least for my channel. Oh my god, off topic. I hit almost 2,000 subscribers, which is fucking mind-boggling. Considering when I left, I had under like 1,000. So just thank you for that. It's really nauseating the amount of people that might like see this stuff and see me ramble like a madman and talk sporadically with my hands. So just thank you. But the future of this channel is I'm back. Like I'm officially like back. I've gotten a good sense of like my mental health and what I want to do with this. So I have a bunch of ideas that I'm going to do. The goal here is a video every 2 weeks. If I have something really I'm super passionate about, it will be something like every week. But probably 2 to 3 videos a month like I've been doing, but a more consistent schedule. I plan on making 2 more videos about teaching and then shifting back into books because during those months that I was away, I kind of like lost my confidence as a reader, and I've been reading Thomas Pynchon's V, and just like this book has been incredibly amazing and it helping me rebuild my confidence. So I'll be talking about this. I'll be talking about teaching. I'll be talking about some bigger books, some more ideas, tackling this bookshelf, just anything. So if you guys want to see anything, just let me know. And again, it feels really, really good to be back doing this. I really miss this. I really miss hearing from you guys. So if you're here, thank you so much. And if I see you again, that'd be awesome. And I hope you guys have a nice rest of your day. See you soon.